Well, good morning. It's be time for another little soapbox. You know, I really am getting to the point where I'm deeply ashamed of the country that I live in, and I'll tell you why. When people can get on to mainstream media like CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC, and the bullshit on Fox. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really is, man. It's getting to a point where all we have left are political ideologues. That's what we got. Uh, Don Lemon saying that the major problem in this country, okay, is white men. That we are so far right that all of us are potential terrorists. And I'm just like, man, are there that many people out there that would believe that crap? That it would take hold that he gets to keep his job saying ridiculous bullshit like that? And calling Trump a racist. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Donald Trump fan, and I'm old enough that I can make a fair assessment based on what I've known about the man for 40 years. Okay? And most of the people I see making comments about how they're such Trump tutors, toot toot, Trump, 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 them people in my books, they got a problem too because they don't know what they're talking about. Donald Trump is all about one thing, and that's making money. And ain't all this country all about making money. Most of us just want to be able to live, pay our bills, worship in the fashion that we see fit. And, many of us like to hunt, fish, sport shoot. Some of us like doing canning or there's a whole lot of people that I call exercise zombies. You see them all over the place. And there's absolutely no real evidence that all this exercise does anything but support osteodox once you get to a point where you wore all your joints out. And all the vitamins and all that kind of stuff, I've lived long enough, known enough people that do all this stuff that they are in no better shape than I am. And I smoke. I don't drink a drop. I smoke. I drink coffee. I eat red meat. I have in my older years. I've listened to my body tell me, what I like, what I don't like, and what's good for me and what's not good for me. And a lot of things have changed. And if people would just listen, to their bodies. Believe me, you can sit on your porch and listen to the wind and know what's coming. There are people right close to where I live who wouldn't know dry weather if it stared them in the face. And they burn everything they're not supposed to burn in barrels, shooting sparks out of the top of it 20, 30 feet. And when the wind blows, the woods sound like a bowl of Rice Krispies, yet these people see nothing wrong with burning. That's the stupid population we have now. People I don't know, they must not pay attention. They must not learn anything in the years that they have been on the planet. That they spend their time listening to gurus and people on TV and radio and on the internet, and that's where they get their knowledge. And then they claim it as, oh, this is my life experience. Well, no, it isn't. It's just your belief system. This is just some of the most ridiculous crap that I've ever seen in my life, and I'm 61 years old. I got to tell you, I'm not seeing good things for the future. Not seeing good things for the future at all. But when the media can get on TV and talk about President Trump being a racist, and then in the same breath turn around and say, you know, the big problem, the most dangerous part of our segment, public segment of our, you know, population is white men. Wow, that's amazing to me. And as somebody sitting out there, you know, on the end of that, in your living room or wherever you're watching TV or the internet, whatever you're doing, and you hear a comment like that, you know, calling Trump and his followers racists, and then at the same time making racist comments, and it don't bother you. I mean, it bothers some people, but there's a lot of people it don't bother, and you got to wonder, do they have rectal cranial infarction? I mean, what's going on with these people? Look, I understand if you don't like guns. If you don't like guns, don't buy one, but don't try to come take mine. See? If you don't like hunting and fishing, well, don't do that. If you don't like meat, don't eat it. But don't turn me into the bad guy because I do eat it. See? That's bullshit. That's called tyranny and fascism. That's what that truly is. So here's what it's coming down to. We hear a lot of people talking about civil war. And, you know, I've talked about that for, 25 or 30 years now. That the way things started out after Reagan and Carter, okay, and you had, you know, George Bush Sr., a globalist, not a Republican, a globalist, who would see his own country impeded, you know, and perhaps even broken up for the purpose of a world government. Now, these are who the Bushes are, okay? Then you got Clintons. The Clintons are just all about political power. They'll blow whichever way the wind pays the most. Okay. Then you got Barack Obama. I don't even know what to think of the guy. You know, I really don't. I knew nothing about him, didn't vote for him, didn't like him. You know, as has been the case with most of them, I at least give the office the respect, but possibly not the man. I'm not a Trump tutor. You know, I have my doubts still about Trump. I don't vote for Democrats, haven't since Jimmy Carter, never will again. They are people that, even more than the Republicans, at least at this point, will lie to your face and then come out and, you know, get elected, do the opposite of what they say, and say, well, no, you know, I really didn't say that. You misunderstood me. You know, I just can't stand that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be honest with you, there for many, many years I voted Libertarian. This last election I voted mainly Republican, although for judges where there was a Libertarian candidate, and for like land commissioner, railroad commissioner, stuff like that, I voted Libertarian. Because Libertarians are, you know, they're capitalists, they're constitutionalists for the most part. Now there is, you know, a wing to the party that's kind of, I consider them to be anarchists, and I don't support them. It's one of the reasons this year that I didn't vote for a lot of them for the big offices, because I don't believe they're going to really do anything. And what I'd like to see them do, because, you know, their views are closer to the Republicans, is do what Rand Paul and Ron Paul did, and that's run as Republicans, but their own personal platform needs to be libertarian. And that way, you know, your people that are left of center and your people that are right of center can feel well represented by one person. Those that are left of center, they scare me because they want to take over our lives. You know, they really scare me. And they scare me because if they do get power and they start their takeovers, I will have no choice but to not support them and to not obey them. And so that's what this little video comes down to. You know, you want to think that I'm the most dangerous man in America, it might be a good idea, because there are a lot of men just like myself that, you know, we obey the law, we do the things we're supposed to do, but when you come down to taking our God-given rights from us, we will not obey you, and we will fight you, and blood will run. And it'll be a righteous battle because it'll be self-defense. I never agree with murder, ambushes, and stuff like that. I never agree with it. What the person did, sending bombs, what the person did going to the synagogue, shooting up Vegas, shooting up schools, no sir. Won't never support that. Won't never declare somebody like that a hero. They're all villains, they're all evil. But when a political party gains power and seeks to take rights away from law-abiding citizens, it is their duty to fight back. I will not live under that kind of tyranny. I just won't do it. And you know, my memory is getting bad, but one of our forefathers, if I'm not mistaken, was Patrick Henry, who said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And that holds true for me. I will not obey gun bans and that sort of thing. Okay? And I do not support abortion on demand. If a physician, along with the surgeon, says that an abortion is medically necessary to save the mother, I'm all for it. Okay? But for a young a male and a female go out, have sex, knowing they're not using protection, and they get pregnant, you know, to go out and to abort that baby is murder. It's murder. And there'll be people that'll say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. But trust me, I do. I know what I'm talking about. And I will tell you that through experience, we had to learn these lessons. And for a government or a community to support abortion on demand, even though you don't have an abortion, I will submit to you on the day that you face the Lord, He's going to place in one of them columns of not so good things you done, supporting abortion. And we have murdered millions of babies. And it is just a sad thing to think about. On that, I hope somewhere along the line this country can find a way to look at health care in a broader sense. I'm not an expert on anything, but I've heard some people call health care a privilege. Bullshit. Health care, if one is able to get health care, all should be able to get it. You know, we pay for Social Security, for a basic retirement, and you know, we should look into a plan where everybody has health care. And you know, the best system that I know of on the planet is the Canadian system. And I've worked with Canadians. I've gotten to know several of them. And out of the many, I've only heard one or two complain about the length of time sometimes for elective surgeries. Just elective surgeries. Other than that, you know, their system works great. And that I know of, you can live however you want to live. And I think the big fear in the United States here is that you get national plan and then they'll tell you, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know, if you don't exercise, if you don't eat this diet, if you don't, you know, if you smoke, whatever, that I know of, you know, and I'd appreciate hearing from people, you know, who have experience with the Canadian system talking about that. Because I still think those people are free to decide for themselves how they're going to live. Anyway, it's time is getting short and it's turning into too long a video, and it's just a, you know, a time, I guess, for me to vent a little bit and let folks know, golly, lighten up. Let people be free. That same freedom you desire for yourself, therefore grant unto others. And I guess my last thought is about Halloween. I'm sorry. You know, I'm a Christian. I believe in the Lord, and I believe in the concepts taught in the Bible. And we do not celebrate the dead or death or the occult. I would ask all people to believe in the Lord, to consult through prayer with Him about the celebration of such an evil day. I just don't see how Christians can, in good conscience, celebrate a holiday that is so tied in with the occult. And those are my thoughts. Agree with them or not, they're mine, not likely to change. Remember, folks, even though you may not agree with your neighbor, treat them with compassion, kindness, mercy, and don't ever get ran over. Y'all have a good day.